everybody, or is it afternoon already? I'm so sorry. Good afternoon, everybody. I hope you guys are doing well. Now, we cannot begin until I have a confirmation. So, if you could please write in the chat box as to whether I am audible and visible both. And if both of those two are an uptick, we will begin. I have a very important issue, let's say, to be talking about. And of course, the elephant in the room has to be AILET. But before we begin with anything, we will need a heads up on the audibility and the visibility, please. So I'm going to go take a peep in the chat box and see if both of those two things are taken care of so that we can begin with the much awaited talk about AILET. Audible, perfect. Okay, now that I have a heads up on the audibility bit of it, let us begin. Now, I know the bomb dropped yesterday. It was just a ticking bomb waiting to explode, and we have the date for AILET already. AILET हो रहा है 7 December को. आप सबने notifications पढ़ी होंगी, and the heart must have stopped beating for at least 30 seconds. Happens. CLAT का भी जब date आया तो ऐसा ही होगा. Now, first things first, let's address AILET इतना ज़्यादा revered क्यों है? I mean, why is it a high stake examination? First, it gives you direct entry into NLUD. Now, long before, this was a part of the CLAT examination itself. But of course, things didn't work out well. The consortium of NLUD decided that they want to separate from the CLAT consortium, and hence these are now two distinct examinations that happen. But prestige-wise, repute-wise, as good as. In fact, they're pretty much at loggerheads for rank 1, Bangalore and Delhi. So which is why it becomes that important. And of course, the esteemed faculties that we have, we also know now Mr. Chandrachud is a very refined faculty there. The kind of education, the kind of exposure, so on and so forth. I mean, Delhi has the Supreme Court. What more do you want? So, of course, the strategic location of the college plus the kind of features that it allows you, all of those things become very important, and which is why it becomes a go-to examination for anybody who's preparing for CLAT. So, it's like जब हम CLAT के लिए prepare करते हैं, तो ये एक दो चीजें होती हैं जो, I mean, they're given. Those examinations one will not partake with. They are like the institutes that you want to be in, which is why students are generally very starry-eyed about it. But when you tend to prepare for AILET, there are a couple of very raw, very crude facts that you need to know. First, the number of seats in NLU Delhi is way lesser than Bangalore, which means your candidature is up for a major, major challenge. It's going to be cutthroat. It's going to be dirty there. You have to be the creme de la creme, which is the finest of the lots to be able to get there. And the examination, unlike CLAT, is not as much as a skill test as it is a speed test. So while CLAT में हम लोग हमेशा कोशिश करते हैं, accuracy remains our friend. AILET में you have to make sure the speed remains your friend. Why? Because you have 150 questions to do in 120 minutes, which means barely about 45 seconds per question. This is inclusive of the reading time. अब सोचो passages कितने सारे आते हैं. English का अगर आपने format देखा होगा तो it is all about the reading comprehensions. Everything and anything that they want to ask will be within the reading comprehension itself. But reading comprehensions, जब 7 से 8 comprehensions पढ़ने होते हैं ना, तो सच में बहुत थकान होती है. It's not an easy task. I know with CLAT, this is one thing that comes. It's like a blessing in disguise, and that is इतना पढ़ना, इतना ज़्यादा हम अपने आप को equip कर लेते हैं reading से, that the reading part is taken care of. But the psyche is different. Now, when you're applying yourself in the CLAT examination, you know कि 4 से 5 passages आएंगे, and that's going to be about it, and 24 questions versus 50 questions. Longer passages, number of passages increase. It turns the table altogether. It does, create a little bit of, it does create ripples. Aapka confidence does take a beat. And which is why your speed becomes very important in an examination like this, because if the speed is not taken care of, then you will not be able to finish. And this is just it. Then we have the logical section. Logical section में 70 questions are रहे. They are a culmination of not only critical reasoning, but analytical reasoning also. So yes, the pattern is different, the requirement is different, the approach is different. And which is why when you keep preparing, you have to make sure that you are doing a dual prep mode here. अगर आप दोनों के लिए simultaneously नहीं prepare कर रहे हो, then at that point of time, you will find difficulty switching from CLAT to AILET in that 1 week of time. And it is not advisable. So if you are serious about AILET, my suggestion to you is एक दो past papers लगा के देखो. There can be no better way to know how to be giving the paper or how to be prepping for the paper than by doing the past papers. So my suggestion is give a past paper or two या mock ही दे दो. See how do you like it. Are you okay with the way the formatting is being done? Are you okay with the way the questions are being put forward? Because if yes, then maybe you'd want to prepare. And look for the ranks that they take. Look for the number of entries that happen and be very true to yourself. I mean, at this point of time, we know our preparation. We know that in CLAT, there are going to be about 3,000 ranks, up to 3,000 ranks wherein the eligibility can stand a chance. But in AILET, it might not. 80, 90, they cut. They finish it off over there. So 3,000 में rank लाना, of course, is an easier pool to compete with versus just 90 people. So I am not demoralizing. In fact, AILET is one of the most prestigious examination for which you must prepare. So there can be no way around it. But please make sure that you know what you're preparing for, because the competition that AILET has, of course, it's really tight. It's not as easy as it looks. Having said all of that, another thing that you have to know is with the CLAT preparation, the best part will be आप AILET के लिए simultaneously prepare होते रहोगे. Yes, there will be a couple of things that you will have to do over and above, which is why going forward, आपका week का preparation ऐसा होना चाहिए wherein you are taking into account both of it. If you're preparing for AILET, you are preparing for CLAT. If you're preparing for CLAT, you are preparing for AILET, but AILET requires a little more. उसके ingredients ज़्यादा है, उसका syllabus ज़्यादा है. So which is why there will be more elements that will be added. So even if in a day, in a week, maybe 1 or 2 days, you add more to your practice, it's going to be taken care of. It will not be a problem at all. So now with this, I am going to walk you through how the next 6 months need to look. Do not compromise on the AILET preparation at all, please. That's not something that we require you to do. You have to not also compromise on the CLAT preparation. Now, of course, both of those two things have to be taken care of very, very effectively. But again, please be very careful that the preparation can go hand in hand. That is, both the things can be prepared for simultaneously, but you will have to know, thoda pressure aayega, thoda zyada, the fatigue is going to come in, and which is why you will have to make sure that you are sorted in your head as to what you want. Burnouts honge, yes, because double the effort ho raha hai, double the syllabus ho raha hai, right? But double the chances bhi ho rahe. So of course, this is going to be the kind of thing you will have to be careful about. And with that, let us begin. Now, what are we going to be focusing on? Today, we are going to make a roadmap for the next 6 months कि कैसा लगना चाहिए, क्या होना चाहिए, what are the things that we have to be careful about. But please know, ये सिर्फ एक ढांचा है. This is only an approach. This is not something that you have to follow to the T. Kindly customize, tailor fit it to your requirement. I am listing down the prerequisites. You will decide how you want to do it, not I. So know how you can get better, how you can be preparing for both of it, but alongside that, it has to be you who does it. It's not going to be an advice, or it's not going to be a timetable that you thoroughly follow, right? So now, of course, हमारी start date यहाँ पे क्या है? We are wanting to be preparing from June, that is going forward. Now what is done is done. Now let's see what do we have. Before we begin on to that, there is of course an online classroom program that we are starting, which is going to help you focus on both. So for all of the people who are still thinking, do you need help? Maybe this is the way you can get about with it. Let's understand a few things about the AILET paper, starting with overview तो ले लेते हैं. Let's know what exam are we preparing for. Sunday को होगा December 7th को. Time क्या होगा? 2 to 4, which is why I always keep saying all of you people who are preparing for be it CLAT or be it AILET must practice mocks between 2 to 4. 2 to 4 एक slumber hour होता है, right? It's not a very difficult, it's a very difficult task. So it's called the siesta time. So here is where you will have to make sure कि आप इसी समय पे पढ़ो ताकि सबसे ज़्यादा maximum optimum productivity आप achieve कर पाओ at this point of time. Offline होगा 120 नंबर का होगा, conducted by NLUD. Now, How is the paper pattern? Now this has been updated. Change हुआ है paper pattern in the last 2 years. So of course you have 150 MCQs, 1 mark per question. Negative marking is minus 0.25. So that means that is going to hurt you. Section wise breakdown. English में 50 question होंगे 50 number के. Current affairs and GK will have 30 questions of 30 marks each. Logical reasoning is going to be 70 questions of 70 marks each. Legal is embedded in logical. So this logical can actually be understood as CR, AR and LR, which is going to be your legal reasoning. And legal reasoning थोड़ा सा principal fact base पे रहता है. Distinctly एक section नहीं है, but this is how it is to be understood. Now, what are the key points that we have? अगर आपको English पे focus करना है, of course, reading comprehension, this has to take maximum of your time because with this you will also keep preparing for CLAT. Right? So obviously this is going to be something that you want to know. Grammar. Grammar becomes important for AILET because AILET has had a tradition. It has had a customary practice of asking questions. अब grammar में हमारे लिए क्या क्या important है? Topic wise अगर हमको देखना है तो हमारा subject verb agreement, subject pronoun agreement, tenses, conditional, prepositions and conjunction. बहुत ज्यादा पढ़ने की जरूरत नहीं है अगर आपको ऑब्वियसली आई मीन ग्रामर का अप्रोच तो हमेशा फ्रॉम टॉप टू द लास्ट होना चाहिए. इट नीड्स टू गो इन दैट फ्लो चार्ट. बट इफ यू थिंक दैट नो, I just want to focus on what is important, these could be the topics that you can jot down and begin studying from. Vocabulary में they're going to ask you synonyms, antonyms, idioms, phrases, one word substitution. Exclusively vocabulary के question में नहीं पूछेंगे but RC में पूछेंगे. It is going to be a question stem in the reading comprehension itself. Parajumbles, again, earlier there was a pattern wherein they loved asking parajumbles, right? Now they precisely don't ask parajumbles, but they will ask you in terms of the RCs itself. So reading comprehension के ही stencil में उन लोगों ने हर type के question को डाल दिया है. We then have their favorite, which is the part of speech and the figures of speech. Please understand, guys, these are going to be two topics you have to be thorough with. You will have to make sure that these are going to be the kind of things that you do know how to attempt because these do carry about 3 to 4 marks. 3 से 4 नंबर बहुत ज्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट होते हैं एंड ये बहुत टाइम टेकिंग नहीं होते हैं अनलाइक द अदर थिंग्स. सो दे कैन बी लाइक आवर गो टू क्वेश्चंस. इसमें पैसेज में नहीं जाना होता है, लाइन देखो आंसर करो. So you have to understand how to train your mind to get into these little quicker sets rather than getting into those tedious long sets that we have. Logical reasoning का एक बार syllabus debunk कर लेते हैं. So mostly key topics are going to be your silogs, your series, your coding, decoding. You then have blood relation, direction, sense and seating. Of course, that's also important. Assumption, conclusion, strengthen, weaken, etc. So etc. में cause effect आ जाता है, course of action आ जाता है, strong and weak arguments आ जाता है, reason assertion आ जाता है, so on and of course critical reasoning के para based reasoning भी आते हैं. We then have legal reasoning, which is entirely going to be principle fact based, and then we have reason assertion and binary logic. इतने topics होते हैं, and this is just the key topics. Imagine इसके अलावा भी है. So you can be very happy that maths is not dominant here, maths is not being asked, but then we have this. And this will require your calculation. So your basics of maths will play fair even while preparing for the AILET examination. Now, timeline, we have 6 months. And 6 months is just enough. See, if you have the right strategy and the right goal in your mind, even 2 months is enough. It's just that you have to give it your all in. At this point of time, if you're struggling with school and your preparation also, maybe you want to talk it out. Address it, talk to your teachers, talk to your parents, because if you are somebody who's eyeing for AILET also, CLAT also, and school bhi karna hai, तीनों नहीं हो सकता. You can't be such a great multitasker and something or the other will compromise. And while everything is happening in December, maybe your pre-boards also if you are in your 12th. So yes, there will be clash of the titans here. तो आपको इस चीज को address करना पड़ेगा and now is a good time to do it because you will know how the next 6 months have to be. Instead November, December या October, November में आप करो wherein इतना pressure हो जाएगा कि it will become a very difficult task for you. And you don't want to break down at that time. You break down now so that you have, you are able to pick up your crumbs, but not later. So I'm being very honest to you. Please make sure कि आप इस चीज को you talk it out at length. You want to talk to a mentor first, करके एक proper definitive plan ले लो, then speak to your parents or let your parents connect with the mentor, however you think is going to work out better. राइट सो जून में मोस्टली हम लोग फाउंडेशन एंड डायग्नोसिस करेंगे. फाउंडेशनल एक बार एक सरसरी निगाह सारे टॉपिक्स को पढ़ लेंगे. डायग्नोसिस करेंगे व्हाट इज गुड फॉर अस एंड व्हाट इज बैड फॉर अस. वी हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड विच सेक्शन डू वी हैव टू वर्क ऑन, बिकॉज द फर्स्ट 2-3 months you can focus on working on the stems, the question stems, the strategies. Later it's only practice. अगर आप later concept के fundamentals को देखोगे तो फिर तो नहीं होगा ना. when will you practice? So now is a good time to be able to do that. जुलाई में हम कॉन्सेप्ट स्ट्रेंथनिंग करेंगे. अगेन इट विल नॉट बी फोकस ऑन द नंबर ऑफ क्वेश्चंस वर्सेस गोइंग टू बी ऑन द एक्यूरेसी. स्पीड में इट विल बी सेक्शनल प्रैक्टिस स्पीड, बिकॉज ऑब्वियसली AILET इज ऑल अबाउट स्पीड, बट यू कांट गेट स्पीड अनलेस दिस एक्यूरेसी. तो आप थोड़ा सा डेडिकेशन एक्यूरेसी को दोगे, बाकी ऑफ कोर्स सेक्शनल. सितंबर में यू आर गोइंग टू मेक श्योर CR एंड RC मास्टरी. बाय सितंबर आपका एक सेक्शन स्ट्रांग होना ही है. There is no negotiation to it. अब आप डिसाइड करो इंग्लिश को होना है कि CR को होना है. October is going to be a mock marathon. Here is where you will start getting up on the mocks, because ultimately what you perform in the finale will be debut on to the mocks. तो आपको डेब्यू तो वहीं पे करना पड़ेगा, देखने के लिए क्या है. November it's going to be a speed revamp. If there's any sort of strategy change you want to do, sequence change you want to do, because by now your accuracy is taken care of. अब आपको ये देखना है कि किस में क्या बेटर होगा. एंड December of course 7 दिन है आपके पास, जिसमें से 3rd तक तो आप क्लैट के लिए प्रिपेयर कर रहे होंगे. सो दैट्स नॉट हैपनिंग. उसके बाद आप देखोगे, सॉरी 1st तक, उसके बाद ऑफ कोर्स आप देखोगे कि कितने उस 7 दिन में व्हाट हाउ मच कैन यू गो, बिकॉज एट दैट पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम यू विल गो फुल थ्रॉटल. Okay, now a month-wise segregation of what should be your minimal targets. Maximum can be any, guys. Please also know, don't overlap. आप जब क्लैट के लिए प्रिपेयर कर रहे हो तो AILET हो रहा है साथ में. आई एम रिपीटिंग दिस टाइम एंड अगेन बिकॉज आई डोंट वांट यू टू थिंक कि ये सब अलग एग्जामिनेशन है. सही है, ऑलवेज रिमेंबर AILET इज जस्ट +1. दैट्स इट, जस्ट क्लैट +1 इन सिलेबस. सो नाउ बिगिनिंग विद इंग्लिश 4 RC मिनिमम करो ही करो, इससे क्लैट भी हो जाएगा, AILET भी हो जाएगा. 30 vocabulary words a week. Now I know vocab is a gamble, पता नहीं चलता, तो एडिटोरियल पढ़ो, जितने वर्ड्स आ रहे हैं उतने करो. मेक श्योर दैट 30 तो आप रिटेन कर ही रहे हो. आई एम श्योर आपके पास एक बुक होगी जहां पे आप सारे वर्ड्स जॉट डाउन कर रहे होगे. मेक श्योर यू कीप राइटिंग इट देयर एंड एवरी डे बिफोर द डे एंड्स यू आर रीडिंग इट थ्रू. राइट, ग्रामर बेसिक्स में टेंसेस कर लो, सब्जेक्ट वर्ब एग्रीमेंट कर लो, दो टॉपिक्स को लो. राइट, लॉजिकल रीजनिंग में आपके जो भी डेली पजल्स हो रहे हैं, सिलॉग्स, आर्ग्यूमेंट बेसिक्स कर लो. 20 क्वेश्चन पर डे लगाओ, पर डे 20 क्वेश्चंस, कल्मिनेशन ऑफ द टॉपिक्स. एक बार आप एक लिस्ट बना लो दैट इफ यू हैव से फॉर एग्जांपल 15 टॉपिक्स, then how do you want to go? 15 topics can be 5 topics each month. Right, easy to do. एक हफ्ता उठाओ, एक टॉपिक को करो एंड उसको एक्सटेंसिवली प्रैक्टिस करो. वीकेंड ऑफ कोर्स एक मेक श्योर दैट आप एक AILET स्टाइल डायग्नोस्टिक टेस्ट दे रहे हो, which is of course AKA mock. अगले महीने बिकॉज जुलाई इज आवर कॉन्सेप्ट स्ट्रेंथनिंग. अब यहाँ पे अगेन वी विल स्टिक टू 4 RCs a day because CLAT should not get suffered. We then have our grammar drills. By now maybe you want to bump it up, 2 और topics add कर लो, subject pronoun agreement कर लो, conditional and maybe prepositions कर लो. Start by solving grammar drills and vocabulary, get on to root base. Right, now root based is the etymological angle of it, because by now आपके पास इतने words होंगे, उनको भी remember करना है, फिर हर word की etymology को भी. तो etymology is a more approachable way to start. Logical में complete कर लो अपना सिलॉग, सीरीज, कोडिंग. अगेन list down your topics, start कर लो अपने argument based CR से and a little bit of legal reasoning as well. Start with first the AR bit of it. Please understand, अगर आप AILET का पेपर देखोगे आपको समझ में आएगा LR में कितना डेजिग्नेशन किसका है. AR मैक्सिमम चंक लेता है 30 से 35 क्वेश्चन. So you will have to make sure that वो वाले टॉपिक्स तो मेरे हो ही जाए ना. So that's what you're going to do, and then next by July you will introduce these also to yourself. Now सेक्शनल टेस्ट आप दोगे एंड ऑफ कोर्स आप रिव्यू करोगे. सो संडेज आर गोइंग टू बी हेवी. मे बी सैटरडे संडे में डिवाइड कर लो, सैटरडे फॉर AILET, संडे फॉर CLAT, बिकॉज CLAT ऑब्वियसली इज डूइंग अ मॉक. अगस्त में इट्स गोइंग टू बी स्पीड एंड एक्यूरेसी. सो नाउ इंग्लिश में ऑफ कोर्स योर RCs विल बी इंटैक्ट. यू विल एड ऑन बाय डूइंग सम पैराजम्बल, सम क्लोज टेस्ट, सम इडियम्स. अब आप वोकैबुलरी भी करना चालू करो, because you never know उसको question format में कैसे करना है. That is still something that you're going to be wanting to know. 40 vocab and mixed RCs भी आपको अब start करने पड़ेंगे. So you have to make sure that you're doing cluster RCs from different genres. लीगल में अगेन सॉरी लॉजिकल में पजल्स के आपके जितने भी AR, so every time I read the word a puzzle I mean the ARs, okay, and 20 CR questions, so this is plus 20, तो CR के क्वेश्चंस assumption, strengthen, weaken, जो भी CR पैराग्राफ बेस्ड होते हैं दो। टाइम करो अपने लीगल और CR सेट्स को, देखो 5-5 के क्लस्टर अगर आप कर रहे हो तो कितना टाइम लग रहा है, डू बर्स्ट 5 करो 10 करो टू सी कितना टाइम लग रहा है, बिकॉज नाउ स्पीड इज गोइंग टू मैटर। दो फुल लेंथ मॉक्स पे आ जाओ अब बाय नाउ इन द वीक डिसाइड, सो जिस दिन आप फुल लेंथ मॉक करें उस दिन आपको इसे प्रैक्टिस करने की जरूरत नहीं, बिकॉज इट्स बीन टेकन केयर ऑफ, राइट, इट्स डूइंग द सेम जॉब। नेक्स्ट सितंबर में वी आर गोइंग टू मेक श्योर बाय नाउ RC एंड CR की मास्टरी तो हमारी हो जानी चाहिए, या AR वट एवर इट इज, एक सेक्शन मुझे पूरा चाहिए अब, आई वॉन्ट टू नो कि ये सेक्शन मेरा इज गोइंग टू डेफिनेटली अर्न मी मार्क्स, राइट। सो 4 RCs कर रहे हैं, idioms एंड ऑफ कोर्स वो कैब कर रहे हैं, बाय नाउ हमारा जितना भी कॉन्सेप्ट है वो खत्म हो जाना चाहिए। नाउ यू शुड नॉट पिक अप द पेन टू रीड, अच्छा यार ये कोडिंग डिकोडिंग कैसे होती है इसको देख लेते हैं, अब इसको नहीं करना है। ग्रामर एंड पैराजम्बल ऑफ कोर्स, लॉजिकल रीजनिंग में मेक श्योर दैट यू आर डूइंग 30 CR passages at least and about 10 puzzles a day which are a culmination which are going to be in toto, वीकली CR एंड लीगल टेस्ट तो आपको करना पड़ेगा, एंड अब मॉक्स की फ्रीक्वेंसी और बढ़ जाएगी विच इज गोइंग टू बी 1 in every 5 days। यू आर ऑल स्मार्ट स्टूडेंट्स, इन अबाउट अ मंथ्स टाइम यू विल नो कहाँ पे हाथ पैर मार के मॉक्स मिल रहे हैं। प्लीज मेक श्योर यू आर डूइंग एज मेनी एज यू कैन, कुछ नहीं तो पास पेपर्स उठाओ, देयर कैन बी नो बेटर वे टू प्रैक्टिस देन द पास पेपर्स। ओके, अनदर थिंग गाइज, आई एम स्टिकिंग सो मच टू द नंबर, व्हाई, बिकॉज इतना लेजिट प्रैक्टिस करना ही करना चाहिए। यू कांट बी लाइक कि 5 क्वेश्चंस किए हो गया। देखो एक चीज होती है एंड्योरेंस, फिर होता है स्टैमिना, फिर होता है डेस्टिनी, फिर होता है कंसेप्ट क्लैरिटी। सो एंड्योरेंस इज बार बार करते हुए कब तक आपको फटीग नहीं होता, स्टैमिना इज कब तक टिक पा रहे हो मेंटल क्लैरिटी के साथ, डेस्टिनी क्या पता तुक्के में सही हो रहा है कि सही में सही हो रहा है, कॉन्सेप्ट क्लैरिटी 30 क्वेश्चंस में से योर एक्यूरेसी शुड बी 80% ऑफ अटेम्प्ट। अगर इतना आ रहा है तब आपकी एक्यूरेसी सही है भाई, नॉट अदरवाइज। सो ओनली व्हेन यू प्रैक्टिस अ सर्टेन नंबर ऑफ क्वेश्चंस डू यू रिलीजियसली गेट ऑन टू इट। जब तक आप इतना मेहनत नहीं करोगी नहीं आगे बढ़ेगा। सो यू विल हैव टू डू, व्हिच इज व्हाई आई एम गोइंग क्रेजी ऑन द नंबर्स। बाय अक्टूबर इट हैज टू बी अ मॉक मैराथन। नाउ बाय नाउ आपको पता होना चाहिए कि मॉक्स आर द वे टू डील विथ योर एफिशिएंसी। So you're going to do one mock every third day. Of course, CLAT should not suffer. I'm saying this time and again. So make sure that you are effectively also doing CLAT. हो सकता है किसी एक दिन में आपको 2-2 मॉक्स करना पड़े, बट बाय देन आपका CLAT का भी सिलेबस पूरा ही हो चुका होगा, आपको सिर्फ जीके ही करना होगा, एंड सो विल यू बी डन हियर। सो इट नॉट हर्ट यू टू डू 2 मॉक्स अ डे। जिस दिन आपने 2 मॉक कर लिए शायद आपको कुछ और प्रैक्टिस करने की जरूरत ही नहीं है, सिर्फ जीके बैठ के करो, बिकॉज सारी प्रैक्टिस तो हो गई है ना। रिविजन, ओके, 4 RCs, 25 CR, 25 puzzle. Please make sure maximum please be my guest, do whatever you want to do। रिविजन में ग्रामर चार्ट्स रहेंगे, वोकैब नोटबुक रहेगा, आपके लीगल नोट्स रहेंगे, एंड आई एम श्योर बाय नाउ आप अपना एरर लॉग बना रहे हो। आई हैव डन इनफ YTs टू बी एबल टू टेल यू हाउ इंपॉर्टेंट एनालिसिस इज, सो योर एरर लॉग मेंटेनेंस इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट। नवंबर स्पीड एंड रीइंफोर्समेंट, अब आप देखोगे क्या यही सब मेरे लिए सूट कर रहा है कि डू आई नीड टू get a better plan in action। So you're going to take sectionals, all of these sectionals will be from 2 to 4 only। आप अपना मॉक भी करोगे, जो भी करोगे 2 to 4 में ही करोगे, सबसे ज्यादा प्रैक्टिस यहीं पे होगी। डेली 4 RC, 30 CR, 25 AR minimum, right? And of course please throw in a legal also, you can throw in a legal also। Mocks by then 8 full mocks and 4 sectionals, this has to be weekly, right? And you will keep reviewing your mistakes, your analysis will now be your guiding, it will be your beacon of hope। this is what is going to handhold you to know how exactly should you be doing it। and ultimately December सिर्फ एक ही रहेगा, you will do 4 mocks, concentrate on the mocks, do your RCs puzzle CR daily, and the ones that you're a little weaker at, maybe you want to brush up the concepts here, no new topic, no new topic। वो 7 दिन में ये मत सोचना कि आज मैं अब ये नया सीख लेता हूं, नो, इट हैज टू जस्ट बी द सेम। प्रायोरिटाइज ऑन योर रेस्ट, योर स्लीप एंड योर हाइड्रेशन। those 7 days are going to be killer because आपने सिर्फ अभी अभी एक क्लैट का एग्जाम दिया होगा. It will take you 2 days to get into the mood of it. अच्छा क्लैट क्या करेगा, अगले दिन तक प्रोविजनल आंसर की दे देगा. You will obviously by default, it's a very human instinct to sit and match the marks. You will match the marks depending on what it is. You will have clarity कि भाई क्या होना है. उसके बाद you will also be sad for a day or two or extremely happy. So either you're going to be overconfident or you're going to be underconfident. All of this will affect AILET. AILET ना बहुत emotional lines पे खेलता है. So your mechanical approach is very important. Either you don't check, or if you want to, you should be clear that okay, if this is gone, okay, I'm getting this, but I don't mind, I don't mind giving it my best shot in AILET. In AILET. Even if it is not happening, say for example, then it's a source of redemption for you. So your mental state in those 7 days is going to be very important. And agar wo 7 days goof up ho gaya na, then there can of course be no redemption. Then we will have no option but to get to the OLETs. While the OLETs also have some very good examinations, but they can't be. वो कभी टक्कर ही नहीं दे सकते ना nationals को. So we don't want any of those sufferings to happen. What are going to be your go-to resources? You can always start with Word Power Made Easy. It's a very good book. Red and Martin for grammar. The Hindu, of course. If you run out of passages and you want to do more, you can get on to GMAT RCs. Your RSMs, they are going to be your tool. अभी थोड़े time में आपके पास GMBs आ जाएंगे, which are the Grandmaster box. Of course, your YTs, over the YTs also we keep doing these marathons and strategies, and your portal. Your portal has a wealth of knowledge. Never underestimate the portal. You have to make sure that this is something that you practice from. Sectional karo usme, mock test karo usme, topic test karo usme. Logical reasoning mein you can have RS Agarwal, you can get on to CRG Mat, and of course the AILET PYPs. Again, the RSMs, the YT and the portal stand true for this as well. Weekly plan ऐसे रखना कि Monday to Friday practice कर रहे हो, Saturday को आप sectional and review कर रहे हो, Sundays को mock कर रहे हो, थोड़ा legal CR set कर रहे हो, vocabulary recap कर रहे हो, mock कर रहे हो, तो you might want to see CLAT and AILET. Decide. Or like I suggested, it could be a Saturday, Sunday either. It could be a Wednesday, Sunday, whatever. Because in a week you will have to dedicate 1 day solely to AILET. क्योंकि उस दिन फिर CLAT के साथ हमको क्या होना है? We don't want to get confused. We want to understand how the psyche for AILET ultimately is going to be. And with that, we come to an end to this strategy series of how should the next 6 months be with respect to AILET. I hope it's given you some clarity. But first things first, what you're going to do is you're going to sit down and write all the topics that come in AILET and divide किस महीने में कितने topics करने हैं. And stick to that plan because at this point of time, guys, there is no wiggle room. 6 महीना सच में अब बहुत ज़्यादा. You'll have to pull up your socks. You will have to go all in. No distractions. No, no burnouts. There should be nothing that should come in your way. When you have dedicated a certain slot for recreation, उसी time करना, बाकी time पढ़ाई करना. पढ़ाई का time अब आपका बढ़ने वाला है. If you are serious for AILET, because you will have to prepare for CLAT also and AILET also, तो obviously dedicate तो करना पड़ेगा ना वो time. ऐसे ही थोड़ी हो जाएगा. So please make sure, guys, that's something that you are definitely doing. I hope all of this was helpful. I didn't mean to scare you. I'm just trying to push you, motivate you. And if you did get motivated, please do write in the chat box. You know what has to be done next. Like this, if you really share it with other like-minded friends who are also struggling with AILET, जिनको और मेहनत चाहिए. अगर कोई specific video चाहिए with respect to strategy or anything, do write in the chat box so that I can reach out to you guys and I can also tell you how the preparation needs to be. Having said all of that, it's not that it's not doable. It's not entirely undoable. It is extremely doable provided you have the right vision in mind. And then there can be no blurring of that vision at all. So please make sure, guys, you're giving it your absolute best. And I have full faith that you're definitely going to crack it through. I will just take 2 minutes of time to read the comments in the chat box because there seem to be many. I will just address those and then we're going to call it a day. So what is the cutoff for AILET? Now, the last time it went anywhere around 109 to 112.50. So you'll have to be knowing of that. I've got 90.9 in my SC. Yes, of course, Nidhi. Please do give it again. Ma'am, thumbnail में कोई दूसरा teacher. How does that matter? Thumbnail में अगर कोई दूसरा teacher. In fact, it is me only. It is not some other teacher. I also saw the thumbnail. Ma'am, what could be the date? The date, Chinmay, is already out. It was on the 1st. Okay, LE standard test series, is that sufficient for mocks? You do, for mocks, you are asking do. Okay, yes. You can subscribe to the LE test series. The LE test series will have the RSMs, but please make sure it gives you the one that has access to the RSMs, the portals, and the mocks as well, so that you are not running all over the place. You have things concrete in your hand, and that is your one-stop shop to the preparation for AILET and CLAT both. Okay, that's going to be it, guys. It's going to be me signing off now. If there's anything more that I can help you with, the chat box is where you are to write, and I shall revert shortly. Thank you so much and have a great day.